So this is what we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes. Be walking along, finding ourselves eager to tell a story and recognizing in the pre-words of it that it's not a story that we want to keep the momentum going. And then we would deliberately not tell the story. And whoever you're with is going to say to you, I felt like you were going to say something. And because they're on the same disc with you, they want you to say it. And you're going to say, no, I have the urge to say it, but I'm not going to, because I can tell that it will not be to my advantage. Now we're making fun, but we really mean that. Don't put words to things that you don't want to encourage the momentum of, because talking about it keeps the momentum going. Now, does it really matter for tomorrow? If you talk about it all day today, does it really hinder the momentum that you get going tomorrow? What do you think? If you talk about something unwanted all day today, will it hinder the momentum that you want to get going tomorrow? If every day is a new day, and if every day your source is there and is calling you upward, then isn't tomorrow only about tomorrow? So why does it feel like it's hindering? Is it because you've developed patterns? Is it because you've developed patterns of thought that actually are momentum, so to speak? In other words, if you've only practiced words that sound like, I don't have enough, and words like, isn't it a beautiful day, don't come out of you very often, then maybe there is some momentum to government conspiracy. Maybe there is some, we're not talking about the actual government conspiracy. We're talking about the momentum in your belief about it. So a thought is a point of focus. A point of focus is a point of attraction. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So a belief is a thought that has momentum. So if you practice these words all day today and you have beliefs, it is more likely that tomorrow those beliefs are going to be stronger. That's why we're saying if you start every day, reaching for that high-flying disc, within 30 days, we're not kidding you, you can alter the vibrational frequency of your beliefs. Can you stop thinking about that? Can you stop thinking about that thing that we don't want you to think about? Or can you start thinking about something else? So what we're getting at is, rather than focusing on stopping negative momentum, just focus upon beginning positive momentum. There is a leverage in that we can't even describe the difference. You can stop negative momentum. You can, if you're willing to pay the price. It's hard though. You can stop negative momentum, but it is a harder way to go. It's much easier to start positive momentum. So you start it the night before and you wake up the next morning. And then what do? Are any of you having any success with this? Starting positive momentum? Or is it only feel like that because you've had it going for so long that now it's easy for you? Oh, sure, easy for you. You've been doing it for a while. What's it like to start positive momentum? What's the easiest way to start positive momentum? Appreciation seems good if you've got some momentum already going. But what if nothing in your life is worth appreciating? What if you hate your job, your lover left and took both cats? Then what? So the way to start momentum is to start general. Someone called out nature. The way to start positive momentum really is to be as general as you can. Because when you get specific, what happens is you activate the momentum that you've already had going. Does that make sense? So the more general you are. So what's the most general thing that you could think when you wake in the morning? Something that's good feeling. Could you focus upon your body lying in the bed? Could you appreciate the fact that you breathed all night long and you didn't have to think about it? That your bodily functions are working, that your heart is pumping and that the air is flowing, could you just for a moment acknowledge in appreciation, but really more generally, the physical well-being of that? No matter what's going on in your body, those things that are happening, it's big. It's really, really big. That's really big. It's really worth appreciating for a little bit. The roof over your head, the air conditioner when you're in a hot city, the structure that provides the electricity that makes it possible for this easily accessible and very low cost energy. Isn't that something worth focusing on? And isn't it positive, and doesn't it feel good? And isn't there some appreciation in that? And if you've stayed there for as little as 17 seconds, which we just did, isn't there something else that you could leapfrog into? Something else that feels equally good? Aren't you appreciating the commerce of your world? Aren't you appreciating the fact that the world is so large and there is so much energy and how dynamic it is? Don't you love the economy of your world? Don't you love the standard of living that you have access to? Isn't it nice? Don't you appreciate the way you get around? Have you looked at the vehicles that you drive? You look at the vehicles and you see how solid they are, how well constructed they are, how reasonable they are, how accessible they are. Don't you feel fortunate to live in an environment where everyone you know has transportation? Not just transportation, but for the most part really reliable transportation. Aren't you pleased with the organization that your government has provided that puts these roadways in place? Aren't you amazed that you can get anywhere that you want to be? Not just in your conveyances that are on the ground, but those that are in the air. Isn't this a wonderful time to be alive? Don't you love being at the peak of technology? Aren't you enjoying the computer that you have today? Do you remember the one that you had 20 years ago? Do you remember how many megabytes of memory you had in comparison with what you've got going on now? Don't you appreciate the ease of all of that? Now, did any of you feel any argument with any of that? Was it boring? In some cases, it was boring, but there was no resistance in the conversation. So now the momentum can continue. So you find yourself appreciating things like that generally. You find yourself appreciating things like that globally. You find yourself acknowledging the well-being of how most are thriving around you. You could even find yourself comparing yourself to those who live in other places and feeling appreciation for where you have landed and what you are accomplishing. Then you can move in to your appreciation for trading stocks and the facilities for it that make it possible, and the intuitiveness that you find, and how fun it is to use the power of your mind, and how great it is to get to do the math, and how nice it is that there is a mathematical science that you understand, and how nice it is that the market is broad enough that there is no long-term risk, and that knowing what you know and being able to apply your thoughts in the way that you do, that you can actually calculate with some accuracy what's coming back to you. And as you acknowledge the feeling of elation, as you've applied these principles, these laws of the universe, where you have deliberately brought yourself into vibrational alignment with something, brought yourself vibrationally up to speed with it, found thoughts and then practiced those thoughts and spoke them regularly. I'm really good at this and things go really well for me. And the clients that I work with and the others that I trade with, the others that I get to play with, this is really a remarkable thing that's going on. And you feel the momentum of that going. The reason that that momentum keeps going well for you is because that is the vibrational momentum that you've got going. But you can get that momentum going on every subject in the world. Anything that matters to you, you have the ability to allow, not get that momentum going, to allow the momentum that you already got going to sweep you into its momentum. This is the thing. Am I in the mode of receiving? Am I practicing the art of allowing? Am I practicing the art of allowing the momentum that has already been established by the desires that I've been offering? Am I allowing the momentum that has already been established by the desires that I've set into motion and continued by the non-physical energy that is giving its undivided attention to it? Am I now allowing myself to receive the benefit of that momentum, that incredible momentum? Do you understand the leverage in allowing yourself to be swept up into that momentum?